Just 2 milligrams of fentanyl can kill you in a matter of minutes. That's the same size as a few grains of sand. And worse, not all fentanyl is the same. At this very moment, masked men in homemade labs are cooking up newer and even more lethal versions of fentanyl, and those literal chemical weapons are headed straight to the USA. It is this ever-expanding synthetic nightmare that we'll discuss in today's episode of The Infographic Show. What does fentanyl do to your body? Sadly, there are people out there who seek...
Wait, 2 grains of sand, little tiny whatever specks of fentanyl could kill you. Who's out here chopping up little grain specks? Like, y'all just trying to kill people at this point, bro. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because, like, it's too, like, minuscule of an amount for you to actually know what the hell is going on. That shit don't make no sense. But anyway, let's continue the video, bro.
The strongest opioids, despite the DEA's warnings that fentanyl is killing Americans at an unprecedented rate. Many who take it are unaware of its deadly potential. In 2022, a group of teenagers bought what they thought was a fairly mild prescription opioid pill, Percocet, when in fact their perks had been contaminated with fentanyl. One of the teens, a 15-year-old girl, was found dead in the bathroom.
Hey gang, why are teenagers taking perks anyway? What the helly? Is that a real thing? Like, are kids, 15-year-old kids, taking perks nowadays? Is that where we've gone? That shit don't make no sense. I'm not gonna lie. And then he just said mild. Perks are not mild, gang. Alright, but maybe he know more crazier than drugs than me, and he be like, he really know like what it does to the body and shit. But nah, bro. Like, nah, bro. Nah.
At Bernstein High School in Hollywood, 2 more teens were discovered unconscious at the nearby Lexington Park. They had no idea the pills they dropped were 33 to 66 times stronger than the ones they thought they had bought. As you'll see later in this video, this kind of thing is happening all over the USA and to a lesser extent in Europe. Experts are calling it the 4th wave of the opioid crisis. The first wave to wash over America's shores was in the 1990s and the early 2000s, when unscrupulous pharmaceutical companies came out with new opioid drugs. Physicians started over-prescribing them for general pain management, paving the way for widespread misuse. Patients with conditions like back pain were prescribed powerful opioids, drugs that in some cases had addictive properties comparable to heroin. This approach led to devastating consequences, affecting millions of Americans, with the impact still being felt today. Pharmaceutical companies took advantage of the unique ability to advertise directly to consumers, painting the picture of blissful pain relief. This led to over 250...
Okay, when you take perks, I feel like maybe he gonna answer this, but when you take a perk, right, does it make you high, or is it just something where you no longer feel pain or whatever it, pain relief, I guess? Because how you gonna give somebody some shit that'll make them high and say it's gonna get them pain relief? All these niggas look high. That nigga look crazy. That nigga look wow. She don't got no chin. Hey yo, they took a little too many perks. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, bro, that shit don't make no sense. I can't believe perks are like actually a legal thing. Like, I can't imagine that, honestly.
5 million opioid prescriptions in 2012, contributing to a nationwide epidemic that affected 12.5 million Americans. The second wave, starting in 2010, saw a huge increase in heroin overdoses. This included many of the people who'd become addicted to prescription opioids. When their prescription sources dried up, many who had become addicted to opioids turned to heroin, experiencing the harsh realities of addiction. Then came the third wave, the rise in synthetic opioid deaths, including those from fentanyl. The fourth wave that's currently making a toxic splash is when fentanyl or something similar ends up killing someone when that person had no idea the drug they took contained one of those super strong synthetics. Later, we'll discuss something even stronger than fentanyl, but at first let's have a look at some numbers. In the late 1970s, America was in the middle of a deadly silent crisis. Each year, around 3,000 Americans suffered lethal overdoses. Despite the Just Say No campaign in the 1980s, overdoses continued to climb from around 2,500 to 5,000 a year. The numbers began to skyrocket, from just over 17,000 deaths in 2000 to a staggering 91,000 by 2020, a surge that would only get worse. By 2022, the death toll reached a grim milestone of just over 111,000. an all-time high. Fentanyl was involved in over 76,000 lethal overdoses in 2022, around 75,000 in 2023. The question is, why would anyone knowingly take this stuff? Like all opioids, fentanyl is a very dangerous pleasure generator that provides a high the user can't escape, even when it's tearing their life apart. Opioids trigger a release of one of the brain's so-called happy chemicals, dopamine. You get a rush of dopamine from an orgasm or from winning a game. But opioids are like a cheat system that floods your brain with torrents of dopamine. The dopamine also floods into a part of your brain responsible for controlling fear and anxiety, the amygdala, making the user feel relaxed. Who wouldn't like that? Answer: about 60 million people worldwide who currently take some kind of opioid. The majority of these people take their opioid prescription for chronic pain, often end-of-life pain. When you're in pain, your body releases stress-relieving hormones, natural opioids in your brain called endorphins. Opioid drugs mimic natural endorphins by blocking pain signals and elevating mood. Those with a history of trauma are especially vulnerable to opioid dependence. Smoking fentanyl is far deadlier than traditional heroin, even in small doses. In a recent study, people who injected fentanyl were 40% more likely than smokers to overdose. Still, in 2024, it was reported that in the US there are now more fatal smoking drug deaths than injecting deaths, and that's because of fentanyl. Fentanyl is often mixed with heroin, increasing the risk of fatal overdoses. One Massachusetts user said he always knows when his heroin is mixed with fentanyl because it tastes sweet, probably because it was cut with sugar, but it's not always easy to know what you're taking. Different opioids have different mechanisms of action. Some give less euphoria and better pain relief, but the ones on the streets, including fentanyl, are the ones that create the most bliss. Fentanyl hits faster and leaves your body faster, so you quickly need more. A long-term user explained.
You know what's crazy? If you really break it down off of like what someone is experiencing, you know, on the everyday life, the average person probably has a worse life than somebody that's doing fentanyl. Hey, listen. Hear me out. Don't do fentanyl because it fucking kills you. You feel me? Like, it's like one of those things where it's like, they say it's like or not fentanyl, but just drugs like that or some sort. It's like the best feeling in the world. But that's like opening up Pandora's box. You know what I mean? You experience the best feeling you've ever experienced, you ever will experience. And then the rest of your life, you know, you never experience that again. That's something where it leads to people continuously doing it. And it's one of those things, it's like, bro, you just can't fuck with none of it, bro. You can't fuck with none of it. Because as soon as you get up there, you're like, dang, everything else is so terrible. You know what I mean? Compared to it. But if you never experience it, you're fine. You know what I mean? There's some things in life that should not be experienced, and this is one of those things. But if we're thinking on a psychological level, they're probably living a better life than the half of us. You know what I'm saying? They're taking drugs that are making them feel, you know, happier than everybody else. So they're probably the happiest motherfuckers in the world. And we all just sad and shit, going through shit. But that's real life. They not in real life no more. They're in some make-believe world and they stuck there. So yeah, bro, never go down the rabbit hole. You feel me?
The rush is way better than heroin, but it only lasts a couple of hours and then you're sick again. Heroin will last half a day. Another said, you really feel like you're King Kong or Godzilla. The rush is 10 times stronger. Many users say they don't like the synthetic feeling, and for some, the high risk of dying makes them prefer using heroin. Opioid withdrawal can feel like your body is betraying you.
Hey, bro, we asking drug addicts what kind of drug hit better in like the synthetic feeling, and damn, how much drugs y'all be doing? Y'all can tell the difference between the synthetic feeling? What the helly? You know what I'm saying? What the fucky, bro? Go get help, gang. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
It's not just the physical symptoms, vomiting, sweats, and restless legs that hit hard. The emotional roller coaster, like all your pain coming back at once, feels unbearable. And while the worst of the physical symptoms might only last for a few days, The emotional wounds can last much longer. For fentanyl users, the symptoms might hit faster, but it's the speed that makes it even more dangerous. What makes fentanyl terrifying is it's not just the high, it's the fact that you can be breathing one moment and in less than 2 minutes you could be dead. 2 minutes, just like that. And if you mix your fentanyl with other drugs that work on the central nervous system, such as alcohol and benzodiazepines, your game of Russian roulette just added 2 more bullets. And while we're talking about Russian roulette, there's a drug the DEA has called the deadliest drug the US has ever faced. It's called xylazine or tranq, but you might know it by its street name, zombie drug. Its strong sedative qualities often leave users with their bodies slumped, arms dangling, and their face seemingly in zombie mode due to the muscles not functioning properly. Xylazine is very cheap, only $6 to $20 for a kilo of the raw powder. So add it to some heroin or fentanyl, and a person can disappear into their narcotic slumber for just a handful of dollars. Originally used to sedate animals, especially horses, xylazine has now invaded America's most dystopian neighborhoods, like Kensington, Philadelphia, also famously known as the Walmart of heroin. Here, around 90% of the drug supply is laced with xylazine. The purity of the fentanyl there is also relatively high, usually around 15%. The problem is many of the chemicals needed to make fentanyl and other synthetics are found in agrochemicals and regular pharmaceuticals. It takes cartels a few hours in homemade labs to do what used to take months of labor in poppy fields. They produce much smaller amounts that are easier to traffic and harder for the authorities to detect. Recently in Tijuana, a lab was busted, and along with kilos of fentanyl powder were presses to make the tablets. The prices of fentanyl on the streets have hit shocking lows, especially when you consider its devastating impact. Depending on where you're buying, single pills can cost as little as 50 cents, but they generally go for $3 to $5. In San Francisco, an addict said a tenth of a gram of fentanyl powder might cost $5 to $10. Occasionally, you might see high-quality stuff going for $25 or more. Of course,
This is crazy. Because I can't, like, imagine, like, being somebody that's selling drugs. You're selling some shit for $5. You know what I mean? It's like, well, it don't even make sense no more. You know, you guys are literally selling dirt. You're selling, like, literally the worst of the worst that's just killing people and making people more addicted. I'm not gonna lie. A nigga that's selling tranq, you're the scum of the earth, gang. Even niggas that are selling fentanyl. Because who's breaking it? You know, who's cutting the fentanyl? What are their qualifications to cut fentanyl? You know what I'm saying? Their hand slips and they're like, oh, fuck it. You know? Like, hey. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it. I don't care. And now 15 niggas dead. Because your hand slipped. You pour a little too much fent in there. Shit don't really make no fucking sense, bro. Don't make no sense, bro. And it's crazy. I don't know, bro. And a lot of these things you can find from pharmaceutical drugs, like, that's too fucking easy, bro. It's too easy. Y'all need to fucking start. There's too many drugs. There's too many drugs. I'm gonna just leave it at that. There is too many drugs. Even the drugs that aren't, you know, fentanyl or tranq and shit. Like, there's too many of them, though. You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck I go to the medicine aisle. There's 8,700 medicines there. Nigga, what the fuck? What happened to just give me some Benadryl and I'll be alright, gang? You know what I'm saying? That's all. Like, what the fuck going on? And niggas that actually need it, give it to the niggas that actually need it. And if they gonna fuck around, sell the shit that they actually need, then now they gonna be in a world of pain them damn self. They fucking self. You know what I'm saying? Because they actually need it and they're gonna actually feel that pain because they ain't gonna have the medicine that they need. But, bro, the pharmaceutical companies, they don't give a fuck, bro. They really don't. So I guess that's where it comes down to. They don't give a fuck, bro. No company gives a fuck. All these companies care about is making money. Even with OnlyFans. Bro, I couldn't tell you guys how many times, you know, and I feel like this is a hill that I just be on by myself, bruh. People be like, with OnlyFans, they're like, oh my gosh, OnlyFans is, you know, 80 or 100% just weird old dudes and, you know, weird men, nasty, dirty men, ill. I really think at the bottom of my soul, most of the people that are on OnlyFans are kids that are under the age of 18, and then kids that are probably like 22. You know, like 22, I feel like between under 18 and 22 is a huge, huge portion of the people that be on OnlyFans. And something that because I was thinking it in my head, and I was like, what kind of verification do they do to make an OnlyFans account? Right? And what I looked up, one day I'm gonna make a video on it. Yo, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe and shit. One day I'm going to make a video on how I believe that OnlyFans is actually selling to children. Hey man, no cap. Even on TikTok, most of the motherfuckers on TikTok are kids under the age of 18, and they just say they're 18. I was 13 with a Facebook account or something. I don't fucking know. I don't remember. Facebook or whatever other account, any type of social networking account. I was just lying about my age, gang. I was just lying. I'm 18. Matter of fact, I'm 22, because fuck it, you know? But it's like, I feel like most of them are under the age of 18, and one of the steps that they take is facial verification. You gonna tell me how old I am based off of my fucking face, gang? Facial verification, gang? That's what y'all going with now? Lock in. And it benefits them for the face verification shit to be worse than better. So that shit don't make no sense to me. And bro, I don't know the setup of it, if you can just put in a picture of whoever the fuck in there. But one day I'm gonna make a video on it, y'all, and I'm gonna be like, yo, OnlyFans is on some grimy shit, and I'm gonna figure it out one day. But anyway, let's continue the vid, man.
Of course, that's not pure fentanyl. Compare that to heroin, where a tenth of a gram will set most Americans back about $15. Sometimes less, sometimes more. Recently, fentanyl in San Francisco, usually 5% to 10% purity, went from being $100 there for a tenth of a gram bag in 2022 to $60 for 3 in 2023. The price drop shows how cheap and accessible the drug has become, and this just fuels the opioid crisis and makes it harder for law enforcement and health officials to keep up. Getting high has never been so cheap in the US, and so deadly. Some of the worst places for overdoses have been Alaska, West Virginia, Rhode Island, Hawaii, and California. In California, from 2021 to 2023, fentanyl seizures went up from a street value of just $64 million.
That's crazy. I would never think Alaska and Hawaii are some of the top places. Because Hawaii, you imagine it being like a beautiful place and everyone's happy there. And then Alaska, how many fucking people are in Alaska? Niggas just doing fent in Alaska? Like, which drug cartel decides, you know what? Let's move over to Alaska. I feel like that'll be a good area for us to smuggle our drugs all the way to Alaska. What the fucky, bro? Shit don't make no fucking sense. I'm not gonna lie.
Dollars to around $650 million. As for the fentanyl hotspot of Rhode Island, some of the recent deaths and hospitalizations were people who had taken fentanyl-laced cocaine and even fentanyl-laced counterfeit Adderall pills.
Damn.
Experts said you could buy a pill with just 1% of fentanyl in it, but another pill could have 70% fentanyl. If it's the latter, you better hope you'd spent $2 on a fentanyl test strip. In 2021, in small towns on Long Island, 5 men and 1 woman died after taking fentanyl-laced cocaine in the space of a weekend. One of the fatalities was found dead, and on his phone was a text message from his friend warning him that the coke had fent in it. He was already dead by the time the message arrived. The traffickers are not intending to kill people with these fentanyl-laced pills and powder. That would be bad for business. Most people who take a contaminated line of coke or a contaminated counterfeit Xanax don't die. They're designed to be highly enjoyable, so people will come back for more. But the odds are someone somewhere will get that little bit extra or take too much. When only 2 milligrams can kill, a little extra in a pill or a bag of coke can make someone pass out and never come back, especially if they've drunk alcohol. Worse, there are stronger versions of fentanyl, like carfentanil, which is about 100 times more potent than just fentanyl, so 10,000 times stronger than morphine. That means a lethal dose might be just 20 micrograms. about the size of a grain of sand. It's believed out of about 1,400 fentanyl analogs, 12 have entered the global market. Carfentanil and another ocfentanil are both insanely strong and have been responsible for overdose deaths in the US and Europe.
Bro, how do you even use something that less than a grain of sand will kill motherfuckers? How do you measure this? You might as well just not even use it. It doesn't make sense. You're killing your clientele, gang. You're gonna use motherfucking fentanyl, nigga? Fucking carfentanil? For what reason? Niggas trying to make just more money? You trying to make an extra $3 on this shit, bro? Bro, you're selling your shit for $5 already, gang. What the hell? What are you guys doing? This shit doesn't make any sense, bro. How is there stronger drugs than fentanyl? I feel like 5 years ago, I thought morphine was the strongest shit in the world. I'm like, morphine, bro, when you're at the hospital, some shit happens, they give a nigga morphine, the nigga's donezo. The nigga's not feeling shit. Nigga's like, that's like maximum. I was like, okay, morphine's like one of the maximum. 10,000 times stronger than morphine, nigga? What the fuck? That shit'll kill the nigga that you just injected with it. Plus, that shit'll kill you for no reason. That shit, one particle in the air. That shit go up your nostril. You dead, nigga, dead. You're done. That shit don't make no fucking sense, bro. That shit don't make no sense, bro. Who's making this shit? What type of fucking full body suits do y'all need to be wearing in order to make this shit? If one fucking little molecule flies up in the air and inserts itself in your nostrils, you're fucking toasted. Because you're going to be high as shit. And then you're going to be like, this shit feels so good. And then you're going to try to get some more. And you know what's going to happen? You're instantly dead, gang. That shit's crazy. Anyway, man, let's get back into it. This is some crazy shit. Fentanyl is crazy, bro.
Such as a 24-year-old man in Switzerland who ordered some powder from the dark web containing ocfentanil and was later found dead in his bedroom. There have been carfentanil deaths.
Y'all niggas ordering drugs online? Y'all Amazon shipping your drugs to your fucking front door, gang? FedEx is pulling up to your front door and bringing you the drugs, gang? You know why they didn't get caught? Or they haven't got caught? Everybody they sell to is fucking dead, gang. There's nobody to snitch on them. Everybody that bought the shit is dead. Lock in. Bro, drugs is just crazy, bro. Hey, man.
It's all over the US. Back in 2016-2017, it was responsible for about 1 in every 15 American opioid deaths. It's been found in counterfeit OxyContin, cocaine, fake Xanax, and even synthetic marijuana. It is a deadly poison that has the consolation prize of making you feel good before you nod off for eternity. The alternative can be devastating too. If someone wakes you with a shot of Narcan, your brain might have been starved of oxygen long enough to render you brain dead. The world is awash with these synthetic drugs, and there is no end in sight. In 2023, the DEA seized 80 million fentanyl-laced fake pills and about 12,000 pounds of fentanyl powder, enough to kill every American. With so many analogs out there that are easy to make and much easier to traffic, and with the West's seemingly insatiable demand, we might have to rethink how we fight this never-ending war on drugs. Now you need to watch new street drug that rots your skin.
Bro, what the fuck, bro? This is actually crazy. Enough fentanyl to kill everyone in America, bro. Like, imagine a nigga just being like, you know what? Oh my gosh, I'm not even gonna say it out loud. That's terrifying. Holy shit, I'm not even gonna say that shit out loud. Cause that'll be the end of everybody, bro. Bro, that shit is the. Imagine in your head, somebody having 12 whatever pounds of fentanyl, whatever it is, and bro flying over a town and dropping all that shit, bro. Hey, yo. Nah. Everybody toasted, bro. Oh nah. Anyway, man, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, all that other shit. And like I told y'all, make sure you really like, comment, subscribe, drop a comment, especially, talk to me. But I really plan on doing that OnlyFans shit, high key. Figuring out what it takes to make an OnlyFans account, like as from a consumer's point of view, and if there's easy ways to get around it, because it's like I really think a lot of it is children, bro, and I think people are just throwing it on weird old dudes. Of course, there's plenty of those, but I think a big chunk of it is children, people under the age of 18, using their mom's or their dad's fucking ID, or just taking a picture off the internet and using it and saying, oh, this is me, and they scan it and say, oh yeah, you're over the age of 18. You know what I mean? But anyway, man, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, all that shit, and I love you guys. Peace.